Hello everyone and welcome to the Cheat Meal presented by Deep Fried Draft. This is our draft review series. I'm Brian Bosarge and now we're going to talk about the Green Bay Packers, the Cheeseheads. And I thought they had a solid, if not unbecoming draft. But they definitely hit some need positions, well, one specifically early, and were with they after trading down from their first round pick 29, they with the first pick in the second round they selected Kevin King, corner from Washington. King is a 6'3", 200-pound corner, long arms, really fast, 4.4 speed, and had one of the best three-cone times at the combine. King is an upgrade over what they have right now physically at the position, and so that he should be a day one starter. Another guy who could end up starting at some point is Josh Jones, safety from NC State. They hit him a few picks earlier than I had him rated, but right around in that area where I thought Josh Jones should go. He's a ball hawker and a guy who could end up playing. Some good value on my board was Montravius Adams, their third-round pick. Adams, when healthy and when motivated, can take over a football game. Unfortunately for Adams, his inconsistency is why he's available at 93 and not at 33. So, but if you can motivate Adams, you're going to get a hell of a football player. Their first pick in the fourth round at 108, they selected Vince Beagle, a linebacker from Wisconsin, a local flavor there with the pick. They've had some success with those guys in the past. Pick 134, they added a running back, and that was another need position for them, as their number one back this year is going to be a former wide receiver in Ty Montgomery. But with that, I think their Jamal Williams from BYU could end up being their top rusher by the end of this season. Could be this year's Jordan Howard, if you will. A fourth, fifth round pick that ends up being one of the leading rushers in the NFL. Williams is an upright runner, but he has some speed, can break tackles, and is solid out of the backfield. They drafted another running back in the fifth round at 182 with Aaron Jones, a running back from UTEP. He tested phenomenally, but I didn't see enough of him to have him rated any higher than I did. But he, just based on pure physical numbers, should compete for a roster spot, if not be their number 3 running back this year. They drafted a couple of wide receivers, the first of which was D'Angelo Yancey. Yancey is a receiver from Purdue, very productive, has some speed, but not a guy I thought enough of to have a draftable grade on. They did come back in the 7th round, however, and drafted Malachi Dupree, who I had rated as the 60th best player in the draft. This, I said earlier when I was talking about Philadelphia, they may have had the highest value pick. I think this one will probably end up being at a plus 187 value. But wide receiver, and being a 7th round wide receiver, and Yancey being a 5th round wide receiver for that matter, could be a tough nut to crack their roster, which they have a good amount of very good wide receivers on that team. So you would think that Jeff Janis, and who's a bottom of the roster receiver for them, might be on notice with Yancey and Dupree. They also drafted another running back at pick 238, Devontae Mays, Utah State. Got nothing. Know nothing about that guy. So I do know a little something about Kofi Amichia, a guard from South Florida who started the last 2 or 3 seasons at tackle, left tackle for that matter, for the Bulls. Did a write-up on him earlier this year for the as a DFD recipe. His agent is a friend of mine, Austin Atkinson. Amichia definitely, I think, could could end up pushing that lineup in the future. But he's drafted about where I thought he would be, 6th round area. But he's very athletic player for his size. His shorter arms and height is what gets him as a guard and not as a tackle. Not a whole lot happening for undrafted players for the Packers. They did bring in Taysom Hill, quarterback from BYU, who'll be probably 37 years old or something. He's playing at BYU for like 6 years. But they brought him in as an undrafted player. Total value grade for the Packers ends up being 20th in the league, average pick value of 15th, but their money picks, 1st, 2nd, 3rd rounds, they're 8th in the league. So, good job there by Green Bay. That's going to do it for the Vikings. Up next, for the Packers. Up next, the Vikings.